This video is about triangle inequalities. You should be completing this video after you do the investigation and watch the cartoon video on Edpuzzle. If you have not done those things, please do those first before you do this video. Okay? Alright, so we're going to talk about triangle inequalities. So what we're going to do is we're going to note that, first of all, they ask us to order the sides of a triangle and the angles of a triangle. And this is really easy once you know what you're doing, okay? So to order the angles, it's kind of obvious if they're all given to you. You can tell this is the smallest angle, this is the middle angle, and this is the biggest angle. So if we're ordering the angles, we're going to say angle C is the smallest, angle A is the middle, and angle B is the biggest. Okay? And then to order the sides, well, we're just going to look at, if you notice this arrow that's drawn in here, we're looking at the side opposite the angle. So this is the smallest angle, so we're going to put the arrow opposite, and that's going to be your smallest side. This is the middle angle, so we're going to put the arrow across from it, and that's going to be the middle side. And this is the biggest angle, so we're going to put the arrow opposite it, and we're going to get the biggest side. Notice what I did. I didn't go write anything down yet, and I did that on purpose. If I go write stuff down, I get lost in my thoughts. It's easier for me to just kind of label it and then write everything down. So the smallest side, I would name this side length as side length AB. So if I were listing by sides, this is going to be side AB is the smallest. My middle is BC, and my largest is AC. You can kind of tell that if you look at the picture, but mathematically we can't really say that it's true unless we use this theorem that we're talking about. Now, if I'm looking at this triangle, it didn't label the angles this time, it labeled the sides. So it made sides labeling really easy. So let's go, 17 is the smallest, this one is the middle, and this one is the biggest, right? So side PQ is the smallest, side QR is the middle, and side RP is the big, okay? So now if I'm looking at it for the angles, I'm going to do the opposite idea. So here we said that the side opposite the smallest angle was also the smallest side. So that means that if this is the smallest side, then angle R is going to be the smallest angle, okay? And then if this is the middle side, then angle P is going to be the smallest angle. And if this is the biggest side, then the angle Q is going to be the biggest angle. So you just draw your arrows to point specifically to those angles. Does that make sense? Alright, so let's go look at that idea on the inside of this for examples 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so on example 4, they started by labeling the sides. So the smallest side is going to be VT. The middle side is VX, and the largest side is TX. Small, medium, big. So VT, VX, and TX. Do you have to put your letters in the same order as mine? No. You could have said XT or XV. We're not comparing two triangles, so it doesn't matter what order you write them in. Okay? Now, if I want to talk about the angles for this triangle, now I'm going to draw my arrows from the sides. So the smallest side is here, so then the smallest angle is angle X. The middle side is here, so the smallest angle is angle T. And the biggest side is here, so the biggest angle is angle V. Okay? Now, I forgot to mention this. Up until this point, we've been doing everything from smallest to largest. So we need to make sure we pay attention to that. So this time it said smallest to largest. The next one also says shortest to largest. Sometimes they say from largest to shortest. So just make sure you pay careful attention to that when you're doing the problem. Okay, so example 5 says that we've got our angles. So that's easy to start with. Let's talk about the angles. So the smallest angle is B, angle B. And then we're going to just go ahead, since we know it's the smallest, we're going to draw our arrow and label that as the smallest side, so we can work later. And then the middle angle is angle C, so we're going to label that there and write it here. And the biggest angle is angle A, so we're going to label it there, and we're going to write it here. Okay. And then you're just going to go ahead and write down your sides. So the shortest one is AC, followed by AB, and lastly BC. Okay. Now, I'm sorry, I wish I would have left one of these problems with an angle missing, or you had to solve it and then find from shortest to longest, because I feel like, you know, you need an example that looks like that. So if this angle, like we're missing this 43, how would we figure out that missing angle? What would we have to do to find an empty angle? We would have to figure out that triangle angles add to 180, okay? So if I gave you two angles and you needed to list them in order from smallest to largest, then you would need to find the third angle by doing 180 minus these side lengths, okay? So, but I didn't do that, so I made it really simple on your notes. So if we're listing by the angles, angle T is the smallest. I almost wrote angle 43. Sorry. Angle T is the smallest. Let's make sure we record that so we don't have to think about it again. Next smallest is angle S. So that's the middle. And then the biggest is angle R. So that's the biggest. So now we just list out our side lengths. So the smallest is going to be RS, the middle is going to be RT, and the largest is going to be TS. Okay. So ordering by sides and angles is actually super duper easy, but you have to make sure that you're paying attention to the arrow going across to get your side lengths. Alright, so now let's talk about the other part of triangle inequalities, which is the triangle inequality theorem. And this theorem states that the sum of the lengths of any two sides of a triangle must be greater than the length of the third side. So what they're saying is, if I take and add the length of PQ plus QR, I'm supposed to get it to be bigger than this third side length. Okay? If it's not, what you should have noticed with those with the straws that I gave you for that last activity, that if it's not longer than the two side lengths, then you're not going to end up being able to make it connect. It's just going to end up being, let's see, which one was it that I did? It was this clear one, which is going to be hard to show on the video. So, okay, so this one was side length 2, this one was side length 3, and this one was side length 5, right? So if I took these two straws, the only way to get the endpoints of these two straws to touch the endpoints of the third straw would be as if these were flat next to each other. And that does not make a triangle, okay? So in order for my triangle to make it actually happen, every single side, if I add them together, it has to be longer than the third side. So that works for two, like it works for the clear and the green, and it works for the clear and the yellow to be longer than the green, but it doesn't work if I put the green and the yellow together. And so that's why I can't make a triangle out of them, because there's just no way for me to bend these so that they make a triangle, okay? Now, if I had the pink and the yellow, I could, because these two together make it longer than that third side, see? So it's longer than that clear straw, so that means they're going to connect, okay? And then I could even put these two together. These two are going to make a triangle with that if I bend them at the right angle. So we have to make, let's see, to make it nice and wide. So see how they make a triangle? Okay, I made a nice and obtuse angle there. So that's just the rule. Any two straws that I picked had to be longer than the third straw if I put them together. Okay, so that's what the rule is. So inside here, what they're saying is tell whether or not these three side lengths can make a triangle. And if so, explain why, and if not, explain why not. Okay, so all you're going to do is you're going to add 3 plus 4. You're going to add 3 plus 6, and you're going to add 4 plus 6. So you're going to check all three of them. Okay? So 3 plus 4 equals 7, 3 plus 6 equals 9, and 4 plus 6 equals 10. How did I get these numbers? So I added the first two, then I added the first one and the last one, and then I added the last two. Okay, so you're going to make sure you add everything together. Okay, so you'll have 3 things that you're adding each time. And then you're going to check, is 7 greater than the last number? Is 7 greater than 6? Yes. And then you're going to say, is 9, is that greater than that third number that we have here, which is 4? Is 9 greater than 4? Yes. Then you're going to say, is 10 greater than the last number on here? So the last number we have, if I did 4 and 6, the last number is 3. Is 10 greater than 3? Yes. So if it gets a check mark for all 3 of those trials, then you say yes. Okay? So that's A. I'm going to do B down at the bottom later, okay? So I'm just going to leave a little box around it. Alright, let's do C. So let's add 2, 4, and 5. So we're going to say 2 plus 4, and we're going to say 2 plus the last one, 2 plus 5, and then we're going to say 4 plus 5. So let's add those all together. 2 plus 4 is 6, 2 plus 5 is 7, 4 plus 5 is 9. Now we're going to check it. 2, 4, so 6 has to be greater than 5. Is that true? Yes. 2, 5, so 7 has to be greater than 4. Is that true? Yes. 4 and 5, so that means 9 has to be greater than 2. Is that true? Yes. So this one makes a triangle. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to skip D. I'll do that one at the bottom. Alright, let's talk about E. So we're going to say 1.5 plus 2.5, 1.5 plus 3, 2.5 plus 3. Okay. How did I get that? Remember, it's the first 2, and then I did the first and the last, and then I did the second and the last. So add these together. This gets you 4, this gets you 3.5, and this gets you 5.5. Remember, if I'm going too fast, please stop the video, okay? Alright, so let's check and see. Well, here I'm going to tell you this. All of these numbers are greater than any of these numbers down here. So we're probably going to say yes, that it's a triangle, but let's just check for that third side here. So I did 1.5 and 2.5, so 3 is my other number, so 4 has to be bigger than that 3. Yes. 1.5 and 3, so 3.5 has to be bigger than my third number, which is, if you want to just cover up the 2 numbers you're looking at, 3 has to be bigger than 2.5. Yes. And then 2.5 and 3, so I cover up those 2 numbers, so 5.5 has to be bigger than 1.5. Yes. So this one does make a triangle. So I'm going to guess that one of these other 2 doesn't make a triangle, so that we have some examples that don't work. So let's look at B. So B says 6, 9, and 15. So the first one is 6 plus 9. The second one is 6 plus 15. And the third one is 9 plus 15. And 9 plus 6 is 15. 6 plus 15 is 21. 9 plus 15 is 24. Okay? So remember what I said. Cover up the ones that you found. So if I have 6 plus 9, I'm going to cover those 2 up. So 15 is my third number. Is 15 greater than 15? No. So if one of them doesn't work, then we're going to say that it does not make a triangle. So B is no. And then I went and wrote nice and large. Alright, let's look at E. So E says, not E, it's D, isn't it? So D. D says 4, 8, and 16. So 4 plus 8, 4 plus 16, and then 8 plus 16. So we do those in our calculator or our head, whatever you know. That's 12, 20, and 8 plus 16 is 24. Okay, so let's check. So 4 plus 8 has to be bigger than 16, right? So cover up the 4 and the 8. There's 16 is my leftover number, right? Is 12 greater than 16? No. So this one is also no. I don't have to check any more of them because all 3 of them have to be a check mark to write yes. Okay? Alright. I'm going to draw an arrow from B so I remember. And then an arrow down to D. Okay. So that's deciding whether or not it will form a triangle. It's a little bit of work and a little bit, it can get confusing. So make sure, like when you're looking for your third number, that you cover up the 2. Okay, so we were putting a 6 there. Is it bigger than 6? Is it bigger than the other one? Okay? Alright. Example 7 says, the measures of 2 sides are 5 and 8. Find a range for the length of the third side. So the directions say find a range of the length. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a 3-step process for problems like these. The first one is we're going to add the 2 numbers. Okay? Then we're going to subtract the 2 sides. Okay? And then we're going to put those 2 numbers in an inequality. That's going to show us our range. So our 2 numbers in this example are 5 and 8. So step 1, we're going to add them. 5 plus 8 equals 13. Step 2, we're going to subtract them. 8 minus 5 is 3. Then we're going to write an inequality. So we're going to put our third side in the middle. We'll call our third side x. And we're going to say that x has to be bigger than one of the numbers and smaller than the other one. Okay? So we want x to be bigger than 3 and smaller than 13. Okay? So that's all you do. Add them, subtract them, and then write this inequality. That's it. So x has to be between 3 and 13. It's easy. Just looks like a little more work than you would think. Alright, so let's look at answer A, or problem A. It says find the range of the measures for the third side. Okay, so we're going to say x is between 2 numbers, and it's going to be like that for every single one of these problems. So you might as well just write it down. Okay, that's exactly what you're going to write every single time. So then you're going to add the numbers, 1 plus 6, that's 7. You're going to subtract the numbers, 6 minus, I put 5, 6 minus 1 is 5. And then you're going to write them over here. Always put the smaller number on the left side and the bigger number on the right side. Okay? This one, add them together, 12 plus 18, that's going to be what, 40? And then subtract them. 18 minus 12 is 6. So it's between, smaller number goes here, 6 and 40. Okay. Add them together, 1.5 plus 5.5, that's going to be 7. And 5.5 minus 1.5, that's going to be 4. So smaller number here, bigger number there. Last one, add them together, 82 plus 8 and 82 minus 8. 82 minus 8, what is that, 74? Let me make sure, I don't want to be wrong. 82 minus 8, 74. So remember, smaller number here, bigger number here. It's that easy, okay? Not meant to be super hard, it's just meant to be easy, okay? Alright, so you're going to glue this into your notebook, and you're going to glue it in on page, let's see, 42 of your notebook. Make sure you glue this on page 42 of your notebook. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day.